The Pusher Pass podcast is not meant for younger listeners. This is a mature podcast. We use salty language. You have been warned.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Pusher Pass podcast. My name, as always, is Dave. Sitting to my left
is Jesse.
Sitting to my right.
Hi, I'm Chris.
And today it's our December episode, our Merry Christmas episode, because it's the holidays and everybody's super busy, so finally got everybody together. And we're going to talk about some Guild Ball and some games and some stuff, because some stuff happened, and Chris went to at least one of those things, or
Sure.
both. And because it's been a little slower on the news front, other than simply, we done trying to ship stuff, we swear. There have been some delays, and we're British, so thanks, bye.
Yeah, they're getting their stuff out.
Yeah.
They're trying.
I mean, they said ship my stuff last week, but that's over from the island, so...
Steamforge is exceptionally optimistic about shipping things.
Hey, as long as it gets here, right?
Yeah, as long as it gets here. I did not order any Black Friday stuff because I knew A, there would be BS surrounding it, and B, I was really happy with the amount of stuff in my collection. Like, I could have got a new ballista, but buying a whole model just so that he cocks his crossbow up as opposed to down, in a pose that I don't even like as well as the original pose. I mean, they're both cool, but I prefer him in the more relaxed, as he, stares over his textbooks or something and holds his crossbow ready to
I don't care
do
about
something later.
That special one. I mean,
But
it looks fine. I just don't care about it. I'd have been happier with a different model, truth be told.
Well, I mean, the point of it was for each of the OG captains to have their original alt sculpts available.
Yeah. They finally have the Kickstarter ballista out.
Yep. So that was the Black Friday kerfuffle. Also, we now know the story about resins. Because around Black Friday, they said, hey, we're no longer going to be stocking metal models. Mm-hmm. And by the way, we'll talk about resins after Black Friday. And it was so great of a delay that we had a nice little meme going of after Black Friday TM. When are we going to hear about that? Well, after Black Friday. That could be anywhere between now and the end of the universe. Or at least the end of our civilization.
And it's from now until the next Black Friday.
Yep. So anyhow, but they came out and told us, and we happily, I don't know, they're doing their best to get their shit together, and I appreciate their efforts. They run a good game. I hope that people get all their stuff and the Black Friday orders come through well. But is there any other news and announcements in the Guild Ball world?
Not really, no.
Not really. There's some fluff stuff, which...
Fluff keeps killing people?
Yeah, people die. I don't really read it, and some of you all do, but, I mean, people are dying. It's not a happy story. But, I mean, we can only talk about that so much.
Yeah, Esther's is a blood-spattered badass.
I mean, I assumed as much. I assumed she was like the Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, where only like 10% of her body mass is actually fat.
Oh, that's why she's got gluttonous mass. Oh, no, wait, resilience. Fuck me. Okay.
I'm still using those tokens. I don't give a shit. You can't stop me.
Yeah.
I paid my hard-earned money for the tokens that they changed all the names for because they get kickbacks.
I mean, change all the names for the...
I forgot. Sorry.
I mean, That's my theory. You can believe it or not, but I've seen bigger bullshit in my life in the corporate world, so would not surprise me.
Mail complaints to Dave at Infowars.com /net
2018.
So
The frickin' frogs!
The Frog Catchers Guild? When are we getting that guild? Oh,
that would be
man.
wonderful.
Oh.
They should just have some of those in the Fisherman's Guild.
It's frog traps.
Yeah, because in the U.S. the frog catching is regulated by the same by a fishing license, more or less. So,
Really?
Yeah.
It's not even a fish.
Well, it's game and in the same category as fish, as opposed to. Imagine if you had to get a hunting license to go out in the backyard and gig bullfrogs with a hook. It's like learning how to kill deer. No, I'm going to go out in the backyard and stab some frogs. It just makes more sense to keep it with the fishing license stuff. But you're right, it's not a fish. It's a friendly amphibian, and I'm not into killing frogs personally.
No.
I do like me some fish, but frogs, I leave them be.
I like frogs' legs.
Yeah.
But, you know.
So yeah.
So anyways, Chris, you ran a tournament
I did.
a couple weeks ago.
I ran a tournament at our local game store. We had a reasonable turnout despite 3 people getting ill, 1 person having a death in the family, and another one just having to work.
Look, man, if you can pay me the differential, I'll show up if you pay me. It was worth a lot of money for me to work that day.
I totally planned on Dave not coming to the event because Dave works from Thanksgiving to Christmas.
I really do.
Dave works in retail. Or
retail-ish.
IT, yeah,
IT retail.
IT for retail.
Thank
so
God
that means
I'll never do that again.
No life outside of work for those 4 or 5 weeks.
Right. So, but you did run a tournament.
I did run a tournament.
And you had a bunch of people.
Yeah. I had 6 players. 2 of them were brand spanking new, and they enjoyed playing a lot. 2 of them, each of them had played maybe 3 games before coming to the tournament. They're like, chips in, let's just do it. Yeah. You know, the best way to learn the game is play 3 games in a day. So they had a blast. And
where are they from?
They're from nearby, Cuyahoga Falls, Kent.
That's doable.
So they're about a 30 to 40 minute drive away, depending on which one of them. And I was super happy to have them. One of them played Alchemist, which Alchemist is not a beginner's guild.
No,
but
never has been.
But he had a lot of fun.
What did the other guy play?
What's that? The other guy was playing. I'll figure it out in a moment. Morticians, and actually
also not a beginner's guild.
No, definitely not a beginner's guild. Although I would argue right now, Scalpel is so nuts that you just give her 6 influence and tool her up, and you can do like anything. Now you won't necessarily. You have an opponent who knows what they're doing, and they won't. You won't just dominate them. In fact, you might overcommit yourself with Scalpel, but you'll at least get some points if you tool up Scalpel and give her 6 influence. She'll just wreck someone's day. But he played Obulus, so he was doing the totally not beginner game.
No.
No.
Other players, we had. Do we have any butchers? No, we didn't have any.
Joe was there.
Oh no, he wasn't.
Joe wasn't there?
He was working that day. Yeah, so I kid you not, 6 of our regulars did not show, and I still had 6 people at the event.
If only the stars would align.
Right, if only the stars would align and our regulars would show up. Oh, Danny won the event with Butchers.
With Butchers, yeah, he brought
Danny
Butchers
won the event.
because Danny had forsaken the Alchemist. I thought he was going to bring them back this season, Danny. I believed in you. I was waiting for you, but you went to the dirty, dark side of not playing the game.
Yeah.
Why you forsake them to kill stuff?
Because he obviously wants to fucking kill things.
I mean, but he was the Alchemist player.
Yeah, he was.
And
but now he wants to kill things.
I know.
The finals of that event was a harrowing Butchers versus Fisherman match in the Shark versus Ox.
What is this, 2015?
Right? Yeah, what is this, release?
Yeah.
I need to go look at which models they actually played, because it could have been like the box 6 for each of them. Definitely could have been. But that was great. I had some prize support from an older event. I think I gave out the old Blacksmiths, the first Blacksmiths release box. Gave that out, as well as had some patches and pins and some leftover swag from when I went to SteamCon that I handed out. Because what am I going to do with a Navigator's do-rag? I guess I could...
You're not the do-rag wearing type.
No. And actually, when my hair was down to my shoulders, I still wouldn't have worn it, but it would have at least looked right.
Yeah, you're not a do-rag man.
No do-rags, no hats, just my head. That's all.
Just fold up, put it in your pocket like, gang symbol or something.
Oh, I could use it a little hanky.
You could.
Oh my gosh, I missed my opportunity. I needed to have that, so every time somebody whined about the Navigators not being out yet, I go up and wipe little tears off their face with the Navigators do-rag. That's the best use. A hanky, just like a little cry a little bit. Just a little.
Oh man.
You don't have your new models yet there, Fisherman player? But
Hey man, be nice to John.
Yeah. And those Fisherman the players that play across from Navigators are pretty fun. I'll say that, because I did get to play against some of them in another event, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, we had a nice event at our store, and I was happy to run it.
How many? What was the spread of teams? Do you remember?
I think
obviously there was Alchemist, there was Mortician, there was Butchers,
Alchemist,
Fisherman.
Mortician, Butchers, Brewers. Fisherman.
Was there a blacksmith player?
No, it'll take me a while to remember,
remember
the
what
last
you
one,
said.
but it's okay. It's okay.
That's a pretty good
There
cut.
Oh, yeah, there was an Engineers player because Kevin played as Engineers.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
That's cool.
He took those for a test drive. Tried to learn them.
How'd that go?
Not particularly well for him, but what are you going to do when you're picking up a new team? You know that you're going to make a lot of mistakes your first time out.
I mean, ask me about my first time playing Hunters. It didn't go well. even at the end of season 3.
Right.
But I'm glad the tournament went well. I mean, hopefully now that Christmas is over and we're getting into slowdown time, we can hopefully get some more people.
Yeah.
I mean, weather permitting, of course, because this is about to be the dead of winter for Northeast Ohio.
The shit is about to hit.
I will be running more events. I think the next one that I'm scheduling is January 19th. So I'll have that up and running on a Facebook event soon enough here. If that doesn't work for the present company, let me know.
I don't remember. That date simply just rings a bell.
Is that a Saturday? We'll take a look at that offline. Yeah, that's a Saturday.
That is a Saturday?
Yeah,
all right.
That is a Saturday. So, anyhow, we'll run that. Because when I ran the event, those 2 new players said to me, hey, this was great. If you have another one on either the 12th or 19th of January, we'll come again. And I said, sure.
Yeah.
I can't argue that.
Fucking
come
done.
on out. Yeah, got enthusiastic, happy people looking to play more games. I'll run more events. It's good for the store. One thing I noted about the event was it was a 3-round event. We started, dice dropped at 11:45, and the event was done by 4:30. Games are fast now.
Really?
Yeah. Nobody ever went to time.
That's good.
Yeah. It was great to get through. I was like, wow, I could have had a 4th round. Because I ran the event on a Sunday, and we were limited by time. The shop closes at either 6 or 7. I forget. Yeah, at 6. So I was thinking, maybe if there were, we would be right up against the time thing. But no, I was wrong. People played so quickly that we had a lot of extra time. I didn't take a lunch break, but for a 3-round event that starts at 11:30, just eat before you show up.
Yeah, there's snacks and shit. If you're gonna be done at 5, you can get out and go home. So.
Yeah, So anyhow, so that was great.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad everybody showed up, and I'm glad those new guys want to come back. Did they have any interest in coming up on our normal Thursday night play nights?
To some extent, although they are being 35 and 45 minutes away means that it's not as... Well, they're not as willing to just do it. You know, I do live 45 minutes away from the game shop, but I've got nothing to do on a Thursday, so I just get in the car and get there after work. But life's not the same for everyone.
Well, hopefully they come out. I mean, if we could get every single person who actually has played the game up there at one point up there, we'd probably have 20 people at this point.
Oh, we'd have... Yeah.
I mean, but we just can't get some of those people back.
Have our own 32-person tournament if I could get everybody who's touched the game. It's a good game for people who walk up and buy stuff, and they're like, oh, you play Thursday? I'll see you then. And you never see them again.
Yep. It's happened a lot.
It happens a lot. It's good for the game store, no doubt.
He sold a lot.
Yeah. Like, our LGS owner loves us. Like, we show up, we play. People see us, they inquire, they buy stuff, and they put it on a shelf and never show up again.
And they die.
Then presumably come back and buy more things, right? Mm-hmm. So it's good for them in that way.
Hey man, I'm not complaining. I mean, that happens with a lot of games.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of people that bought, say, like Star Wars X-Wing when it launched was insurmountable. I mean, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
So everybody bought it, and then we were like, hey, and the store was advertising playing on Wednesdays, and I remember me and my buddies showing up on Wednesday, and Jim was like, well, I'm sold out of everything, like there should be a ton of people here, and there was 4. You know, and people like to play in their own basement, which is great. But you know, sometimes you're like, but where are all the players?
Yeah.
But you know, it's all rotation. Like, I mean, remember when you know Josh comes whenever he can, and then Kevin and
players
dude from Cuyahoga Falls.
Yeah, players phase in and phase out.
Yep.
I mean, Danny comes up once in a blue moon.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, it happens. Hopefully, everything will align one of these days.
Yeah.
You just need to offer punch and pie.
Maybe I'll just charge an extra fee and order pie for the next event. Or
pie donations.
What are
there's a
maybe wings, but
yeah.
I don't want everybody. The thing is, if I order wings,
yeah.
everybody's going to stain each other's figures.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's true.
It's as bad as, like, your opponent eating Doritos and then doing a push on your model. It's like, dude, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Like,
where do you want it to go?
Like, this model has yellow highlights. I don't want them turning orange. Please, stop.
But I love my macho cheese burrito.
Yeah. So...
I just think of it as a very fragrant wash.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So, anyhow.
So, that's cool. I think you also made a trip this past weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to Second Wind, and it was a lot of fun.
That's cool. Tell us about this crazy Chicago tournament run by a different podcast where they're about as organized as we are some days.
Yeah, it was two of the guys from Strictly the Worst ran it. It was...
Which two?
Pat Van... Value and Vincent Kirchhoff.
Oh, Bots was not technically in charge of the event?
No, he was playing.
Pat and Vince didn't play.
Yeah, correct.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Pat and Vince were judges. The tournament was actually split into 2 rooms, an upstairs in the brewery and downstairs in the basement of the brewery. And Vince was the downstairs judge roaming table to table, and Pat was the upstairs judge roaming table to table. And it was pretty great. They got the venue for free, so it was super cheap. It was super cheap. Like,
hey man, everybody's got a side hustle, right?
Yeah, right. So it was awesome on their parts getting that little extra kick to it, so that they got to take all of our tournament fees and turn it into deep dish pizza lunch and swag.
Hey. If you can roll back all that money in, that's what you want.
High point would be the fact that the Wooden Spoon Award, you familiar with that idea?
No.
Wooden Spoon Award usually goes to the person who finishes dead last.
Okay.
Their Wooden Spoon Award was a team carrying tray that was in the shape of a pizza paddle. It was
Nice.
laser cut in the shape of a pizza paddle with 12 spaces for your guild ball players, and like it was a team tray, so you could walk around your event holding your team on this pizza paddle. And the Wooden Spoon Award also came with a full Hunters team. They said, "Now play this and be good at the game," which was hilarious. They're like, play these, you'll do better.
I mean, they might as well just on the other side of the pizza paddle, just like carved in GG scrub.
They were nicer than that, but they're like, if you want to win games, play these Hunters. It was really funny. So, anyhow, there was that. That was kind of my high point in laughter. It was 6 rounds. My first round went poorly, and I lost. And when you lose your first round, you kind of look at the wall and say, okay, I drove 400 miles, 300 somewhere thereabouts. I'd have to check the distance on Tinder to see exactly how far.
What? Oh, right.
Former matches. So anyhow, so
I knew you can't stop.
it's like a drug, man. So
Swiper, no swiping.
Swiper, no swipe. I can't get him to stop during our games.
That's hard mode. It's
I think
managing the clock and managing the swipes.
Well, he got a date during our game at one time. I was surprised he didn't go out to the car at one point.
So, let me see here. So, about 300 miles to Chicago. So, you look at, after you lose your first round, you look at the wall and say, did I really come here to, lose all my matches? And, well, what's the big deal anyhow? But my first round, I did punt quite badly a couple of times. It happens, and my opponent played a solid match. Kudos to him on the win. I don't recall any of my opponent's names. They were all lovely gentlemen. I'm sure once or twice I tilted. I tried to do my best not to, but sometimes you do. Particularly when you're like, oh man, nothing is going my way in this match. And it feels a lot. You get that feeling a lot right now with Engineers. It's not the old style Engineers where you're like, yeah, I see where this is going and I like it. And yeah, things are looking up from here. It's like, oh, everything is inefficient, and as soon as you make one misstep, you're punished so hard.
Are you saying that the Engineers don't have a good clockwork anymore?
They are certainly not a well-oiled machine. They are a rusty fucking gremlin with, I think of it like I'm in a street race with my opponent. I'm in, like, a Buick Skylark with hydraulic lifts and brass spinners, and my opponent, like, if I'm playing against somebody who's got Scalpel, they're just in a straight-up Ferrari, and I only win if they stop to, like, be like, I've never seen a lift before, I don't know how those work, what does that do? Like either that, or if they just forget that they're racing at all and just, like, run into a tree as they're pulling around a corner or something, or, like, or stop at a restaurant.
So what you're saying is your only hope for beating a Scalpel player is that they basically have a stroke during the game?
I shouldn't say that. I do have plans. It's hard to execute. I did play against one Scalpel player and I beat him, but it was his very first time ever playing into Engineers, ever.
That's a bad game.
And it was still 12-10. Okay?
Oh, man.
And he was an absolute gentleman, and he played nicely, and it was fun playing with the guy. He and I accidentally swapped some templates at some point, and the next day we, like, ran to each other's tables to hand them back. He was great. Yeah, but he, it was a good match, and it's, like, really hard to control who's gonna die and when they're gonna die when you're fighting into Scalpel. Now, my actual counter tech for what I would want to play into the Scalpel match is Pin Vice, because if I play my things right, I can kill Scalpel before Scalpel activates. Chances are that'll never happen. My opponent can just sees that it can happen and changes what they're doing and kind of takes a turn off and backs up and waits to exert the Scalpel. But Pin Vice with a tool up and an overclock can kill Scalpel trivially before Scalpel can do anything about it.
I mean, that's what you want to do. You want to get her off the board. I mean, if anyone can, it would be Pin Vice.
Yeah. Ballista can't do it all by himself in one turn, and the thing is, if you're getting up close enough to shoot Scalpel, you're in range for her to stab you in the face with her Scalpel. So that's something to consider. So yeah, I had a round against Morticians, I had 2 rounds against Farmers, I had 1 round against Alchemists, and I had 1 round against Fishermen, and I had a bye round. And what's hilarious to me is I've been practicing hard into Hunters and into Butchers and into Masons and the teams that I thought were tough. And I know that Scalpel is a tough match, and I figured that I would run into her some, but I hadn't really practiced too much against her because most people around here don't play the Morticians, and I just kind of theory craft and what to do. But I ended up playing... I had not played any Season 4 matches against Farmers or Alchemists or Fishermen yet. And I played against all of them. I played into Sharkfish, but not Corsair Fish, excuse me. So my last round was against a gentleman playing Corsair Fish, and it could have gone either way. We had a good match. Corsair, the fellow probably had the game in the bag, but then he overcommitted Corsair, and I was able to just straight up kill Corsair by applying Ballista and Rage directly to forehead.
That'll do it.
Yeah. I found the nice utility of Rage in that match because, first of all, Rage whooped on Corsair something fierce. Then the next round, he had 1 influence on him, and the only person in range was Hag, and I was like, oh my gosh, just tool myself up in Furious Hag. Like, because Furious is free, you can't pay 1 extra influence to charge on a Furious, and with 1 influence, I wasn't going to be able to buy an attack in the first place because of fear. So I was like, just tool myself up and charge her, and I do like 8 damage and make her bleed. And
she's almost dead at that point.
Yeah, she's almost dead. Then all it took after that was like a Ratchet Blast Earth, which doesn't target her, so I'm still not doing fear. So I every round I played Colossus, Salvo, and Ratchet, because Colossus and Salvo are so good, and Ratchet was... I'm not sure if he's as auto-include as he used to be, but I liked having him. And then my odd person out, my rotation was a couple of times I played Velocity, a couple of times I played Compound, and a couple of times I played Rage. So just messing around. And
do you not take Decimate anymore?
Not when I'm taking... First of all, I couldn't because I left Decimate at home. Second of all...
I'll do it.
Yeah, second of all, I like Rage because he's very efficient. He won't always do something, but he takes so little resources to fuel up entirely that I just like having him as an option. And chances are it's not the right answer because he's easy to shut down. And as we all know, if the opponents can shut a model down, they usually do. So let me think what else about that match. I had a great, probably my most fun match of the tournament was second round against an Alchemist player. And we were back and forth the whole game. And I got up to 4 kills and had the ball and was like coming down the field to score. And a recently killed Vitriol was able to get up in my face at the end of the round and activate first next round. Managed to steal the ball from Ballista, who was, let's see here, I had a crowd out because Salvo was also there, and I was in cover. And she managed to momentous tackle on one. I tackle the ball right back. Momentous tackles the ball again. Oh, also the bitch was knocked down, like from my last turn. So it's like she stands up, she tackles the ball, I tackle it back. She tackles it again, kicks a goal on 2 dice, and that was the end of the game. So it was a real tight match. Lots of interesting things went down in that, and I got to really start seeing some of the power that you can get out of Smoke. She will just, keep watching to see when one of my players is getting to 9 health, and then next turn just activate and pop them to death. Like that's it. Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. I think my 4 kills that game were like, I killed Catalyst and Venom and Smoke and Vitriol. One on each of those. Venom was getting pretty scary when my models were all poisoned, because then he's tax 7 and he could whoop on them. So then he's likely to get to his 3rd column and actually do some decent damage. And he's hard to counterattack when he's a 4-2, particularly when he's in cover. So that was the most of that. The tournament itself, again, was very well run. The low point of the tournament was during my second round, I started getting dripped on by a condensation on a copper pipe that was in the basement there. Because it was clearly a basement where they hadn't held any kind of events, so they didn't even know that it was possibly a problem. But when you had 30 to 40 people in the basement all breathing, some of the exposed water lines started getting a lot of condensation on it and then dripping right on my models and my cards. And I was like, I was starting to get tilted right there. And I was like, the judge came up and was like, okay, you guys, it's nearly time. I was like, dude, could I get just a moment here? Like, I'm dealing with water everywhere. And like good tournament hosts, they grabbed a towel and just kept swiping the pipe once every now and then. So that was great. Met a lot of good people there, played a handful of good games. The swag was a lot of fun. Everybody got a deep dish pizza ball. So in my bag right now is a little miniature deep dish pizza.
Neat.
Yep.
Cool.
Neat.
Yep. I think that I like to think of deep dish pizza as lasagna cake, but it's tasty, so I'm not gonna hate.
It is lasagna cake. Like, I've had deep dish pizza from a couple places out in Chicago. My favorite one is Giordano's. I know it's a bit of a chain there, but I think I've had a bunch, and I like theirs the best. But in a lot of ways, I agree with John Stewart. It's not really pizza.
No.
Wow.
I mean, I know I'm going to catch some flack for this from my good buddy Vince, but, God, I mean, it's not pizza. It's a really, really good, really good casserole.
Well, I get all the sentiments around that, and I'm of the mind that I allow food forms and concepts to develop, and when places take them, they run with them, and I like that. And,
I like getting it once a year.
Everywhere has their own style of pizza now, and they're all tasty. I had one over the summer that was Japanese style pizza from an art museum out here, and it had bento flakes and fermenting veggies and an egg and mayo and
from a wait, is this from a museum?
It was at the Cleveland Museum of Art, because the artist in display at the exhibition was from Japan, and she had kind of picked a menu that she wanted to go there while her stuff was up. So anyhow, like, every region has their own take on pizza, and they're all tasty. I'm not gonna tell them it's not real pizza, because I get it. Like, it's what the style is there.
Today's podcast is push or pass or pizza.
Push or pass or pizza. Yeah.
Push the pizza.
Yes. So, but there were a lot of good awards. I ended up taking best
engineer player.
Best engineer player. With my meager 3-3 record that day.
Must not have been a lot of engineers.
There were 3 engineer players.
Out of how many?
Out of 60.
That's not a lot.
No.
Yeah.
Was that the least representative of a guild?
No, the least represented guild was Order with 1. Also Falconers with 1.
My boys.
Gotta love that, right?
My boys. Look, Order are really good at that one thing they do. And if you can do it well and your opponent is not prepared, holy shit, that one turn you get clobbered.
Prepare for the jank all over the field.
Oh, God, you can get some ridiculous shit
I think
going.
there were 2 Rat Catchers players. And Chris Schlegel out of Cincinnati ended up with best Rat Catcher player at a record of 3-3. Which was a blast to see him going for that. Rat Catchers I love to watch play. Or at least I love to watch Piper's turn. I'll just walk up to any Rat Catcher player and just watch over their shoulder at the limitless things that Piper can do on his turn and see what that player chooses to do with Piper's possibilities. It's the other players on the team that are just diarrhea. And well, I shouldn't say that because they're not actively bad. It's just they don't come together in a way that makes people...
There's not a lot of synergy.
Yeah, there's... Right? I think if I actually put each of their players in a vacuum, they're probably pretty good. But, yeah, so... and I do love how Piper is built around doing things with the rest of his team, and they do have the stats to support it, but... The rest of it, when it comes to dealing with anything, they just can't really get much done.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So you went. What was your overall record? 3-3.
3-3.
Who won the event?
The event was won by Mr. Alex Botts playing as Butchers.
Wait. So they had they presented and put together an entire event just for their buddy to win.
Well,
sounds like a bullshit excuse, man.
Nah. He deserved that win. He fought through hard bracket and got there. The second place player was doing Masons, and they had a real nasty match up there. I
hear Butchers are really hard to play.
Butchers are... Well, it's if you want to... You can pick up Butchers and kill your way through a lot of things, but once your opponent knows how to start shutting down different ways that you work, you really need to step in and understand how you get those things back and how you deal with certain things that your opponent does. So, it's if you walk up and try to punch a Butcher toe-to-toe, you're going to die. Don't do that. That's the wrong way to play the game.
Yeah.
And the thing is, a lot of newer players will just do that. They'll walk up and be like, "Oh yeah, well that player's fragile. I think I can do it." It's dude, you've got Salvo, who's got a friggin' non-momentous 2 damage on 3 and tack 5, and you're trying to punch board. No, don't do that. You're gonna get shredded. So. Once you get around to the people who are doing it wrong...
I'm not saying that Butchers are easy mode. I'm saying they're real good right now.
Yeah, they're real good. I think there's other teams that are definitely better. If in good or bad or better, these are all relative terms. And any team out there can be played to good effect against any of the other teams. The spreads are not that heavy. I think there's bigger spreads on things like kicking and receiving than there are on from one team to another, for the most part. If you're looking at Hunters v. Order, I know who's going to win that match, barring an insane punt or just a terrible dice thing.
Well, the Hunters have a really bad up climb on that hill up at the Order, so... What? You laugh, but you've seen brisket turns, man. Those things are ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know for a fact that they can score 3 goals in a turn if they want to.
They can Yes, they can do that if your opponent.
I've done it. Thank you very much.
I should say not if your opponent is not even present, because your opponent has to walk into the trap. So it's not like your opponent.
You are really mean to Jasper today.
What did he?
I did that last season.
You did that last. Well, last season is different.
I haven't done it this season.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, you can do a 3-goal turn.
Everybody gets dunked on once with like a 2-goal turn, playing into order, and then is like, oh yeah, here's how you avoid that. I'll never let that happen to me again.
No, I hear you. It's fine. I'm just kidding, Jasper. Don't worry about it.
I've gotten dunked on a 2-goal turn. Like I had missed kickoff into me, grab the ball and score, and then later in the turn, brisket, like managing to pull teleport hacks and get up the board and
you're welcome.
Yank the ball
by the
and
way.
score. That was not you. That was.
I have done that before, though.
Okay.
I've had 2 goals. Thanks, Jet. Yeah, it was you. It was you.
Yeah. right. Exactly. It happens to everyone once. Also, 2 goals doesn't win you the game.
No. So, but getting that 3rd goal makes at least puts the opponent on tilt.
Yeah.
I've gotten 2 back in the day. I got 2-goal games with 2-goal turns with alchemists, and I believe I did it once with engineers, where I had like an activation with ballista, and then like 4 activations later, velocity did something. Like I know I have it happen. Like it's doable.
Those are possible when your opponent has a bad kick out. It's usually they risked too much by where they were kicking out and then had a bad dice roll. And now it's sitting exactly in a place where you can pick it up and jam it again.
Sometimes the heart of the cards are with you, man. It's just the way it is.
But
for those of you who can't see, Jesse gave me a look that was like, I'm going to stab you later.
Yeah.
Look, man.
Bro.
Oh, come on. So, how many people were there? 64?
So, 64 had signed up. By the time the tournament actually started, only 60 were there, which was still pretty amazing.
Still a lot of people.
And a certain number of people scooped from day 1 into day 2. A handful of people who, for instance, were only driving 30 to 90 minutes to get there, as opposed to
6 hours.
Better than the better part of a day.
Well, yeah, if you're out there, it's not. If you're only driving, from Indianapolis to Chicago, it's only an hour and a half drive. You don't care, but if I'm going that far, I'm going to play both days.
Yeah,
I bought that hotel.
Exactly. Right. I think there were 5 dudes from Canada that showed up. One dude from Sweden.
Sweden.
Yeah, and that guy, his cards. Okay, so you know your card deck, your plot cards. Mm-hmm. His card sleeves were a picture he took of himself in the mirror, like in a towel. So he deals the cards out, and you pick them up, and you look at the cards, and then look at him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm in your head already." It was amazing.
Mind games.
Yeah. That guy, I don't remember that gentleman's name, but he was fantastic.
I wonder if I played MechWarrior with him 10, 15 years ago, because I know a guy like that. If that's you, Brinkster, speak up.
Yeah, he was in I think he was from Sweden. Anyhow, there were a lot of people from Chicago, obviously, people from Minneapolis, people from Schlegel from Cincinnati.
Anybody
some
from
folks
Central?
From Louisville. Nobody from Central Ohio. No.
Okay, none of those guys made the trip.
No.
How big is the following in Louisville?
I don't know. I have to check. That's Antonio Mendez's pundit down there. I'll have to ask him. I do plan to go to their Bourbon Trail Open in February, so I'll see myself.
I'd have gone too if I was, not taking a shit when the registration opened and it was full 10 minutes later.
Yeah, it's
you
funny
messaged me and I'm like, I'm on the pooper.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing anything in here.
Oh.
And then fucking 10 minutes later, I'm like, oh, it's full. I can't go.
That is something I did not mention about second win. Was once I lost, I started drinking.
I mean, at that point, you're out of it. So
right. Well, I also had a beer before my first game. I drank it and said to everybody, "See, now I'm primed." Okay, so if I lose, I could just get tanked. Like, I don't have to drink 2 beers after my match to be drunk. I can just drink 1, and I'm drunk because I already had the 1. So
I didn't know you were that much of a lightweight.
It doesn't take a lot, and I didn't get that drunk. I think that day I had 5 beers and 3 whiskeys. I think that was my...
Sounds like a perfectly reasonable day.
Yeah, it wasn't that much. I switched to whiskey after lunch because I'm like, fucking deep dish pizza is filling.
And, oh no, I'm not putting beer on top of that.
Yeah, I'm not putting beer on top of my deep dish. I'm just gonna sip some rye whiskey. So I was sitting down there with a just a glass with 3 shots of rye in it. Just
you know
sipping.
What? You know what?
It was delicious.
You know what the final should have been?
It took the edge off my losses.
Here's what the final should have been. You know what the final should have been?
What's that?
The final should have been you have to eat 2 slices of deep dish and a Guinness, and see if you can not pass out.
No, it's 2 slices of deep dish
2 slices
and a shot of Malort. That would have been the real final because you got to use the Chicago regional.
A full pint of Guinness, and you have to get it all down before you're done, before you start the match, and then just see who can actually belly up to the bar.
Yeah. But aside from that, I stayed at a friend's house, so I didn't even pay for hotels. I just took them to eat a couple of times. And I did that. I took an Uber to and from the tournament on Saturday when I was drinking heavily. On Sunday, I didn't drink at all.
How was the beer there?
Oh, it was delicious. They had a beer. They had an IPA called Le Jus that was delicious. I also had their Imperial Stout. I forget what it was called, but it was a Russian Imperial Stout, and it was heavy and tasty. It was a good, almost like drinking a morning coffee, except it was boozy as hell.
That's what you want.
Yeah, those were both great. The second day, they had our lunch break was a food truck showing up.
Nice.
It was sort of nice. It was enjoyable. My issue was dude didn't give us any napkins, and there really weren't any to be had inside. So I'm just like halfway into eating my sandwich, just going in the restroom to wash my face and hands because I got a beard, and like so many gamers now, I have a beard. So I was like, wash my face and hands and dry off in the air dryer, and then go back to my sandwich. And so the second day was fun there. The second day I played a farmers player who beat me after he played a real tight match, and I think I was down 6-4, and I was trying to finagle the ball around the field, and I dropped it too close to the threat range of Jack Straw because I have not sat down and done the advanced trigonometry on how far Jack Straw can go now.
I mean, I know you can do the trigonometry.
Yeah, can be done. Just hasn't been my priority because I don't usually expect to see many farmers players, but I did, and I saw some beautifully painted farmers players. Yes, my Sunday was against. I do remember Sunday. My farmer opponent. His name was Andrew England, out of forget where he's out of. Anyhow, he played a tight match with Thresher and just went around killing the crap out of my models and. Managed to pick the ball out of my pocket once when I wasn't paying attention and ended up with a solid win. And after him, I played the Corsair player who overcommitted Corsair. And thing is, tooled up Ballista kills Corsair.
Yeah, it should.
It should.
He's not that tough.
Yeah.
He's tough, but he's not that tough.
Yeah. So for winning best engineer player, I got a laser cut ballista card, which was kind of cool.
That's really neat.
Yeah, laser burnt, laser etched. It's got a little. They had a little plastic drop-in section for the health bubble thing, so you can actually record health on it. But it's a little burnt piece of wood with my favorite captain on it. We'll see whether or not I continue playing him or if I go to greener pastures, because right now it is so hard to make engineers do the things I want them to do. And I have 4 other teams who I've always wanted to play. And the first team I ever picked up was Hunters. I'm not going to jump into them right now, but
I hear you do have an entire blacksmith team.
yeah, I got a whole blacksmiths team that I've been wanting to use, and I think they could take me places. So I've got them, and I've got my Brewers painted as the Cleveland Browns, who I can also rock. Cause
I mean, hey man, we're going this game. We're going this year. So
the Browns are doing great. The Brewers
do it up.
I mean, maybe they also do it. The saddest part of my year was when the Browns started doing amazing and Brewers got nice in this season, and I finally finished painting my mash, and then the next day they killed him in the fluff. I was like, no. Damn
just
it.
doesn't mean he's getting a vet.
Damn you, Sherwin.
That just means he's not getting a vet. It means you have to paint another one. That's
That's a good point. Don't have to paint another one.
There will be no veteran mash.
The only mash I need on the table. So
right, it's all you need.
yeah.
So do you think you're going to completely switch now, or are you gonna slow grind it, or are you still struggling with your inner demons on this?
Yeah, I got some real inner demons here because I've become so entrenched in playing engineers that it's part of my identity and how I approach the game.
It really is. And you know what's hilarious about it? The Cleveland Browns have gotten better, and the Brewers are really good. And your engineers are painted in wine and gold like the Cavaliers, and they suck dick now. So pretty topical.
Yeah, pretty topical at matches. So hey, whatever. All right. So I need to just keep painting my Guild Ball teams after pro teams, and hopefully that they keep up there. How are the Cleveland Indians gonna do this upcoming year? Maybe I'll do them as my.
They're in off-season trouble with budgets and whether or not they're gonna keep all 3 of their pitchers, and they just traded Encarnacion, and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
We had a chance 2 years ago. We had a chance last year, but I don't know about this year.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as they keep Terry Francona, we're great.
Yeah.
So.
Also, I think I'd rather not paint my team because as soon as I use the colors, then everybody's going to ask, where's the shitty racist mascot? And I'll be like, never mind.
You're not going to paint your Falconers as Cleveland Indians?
Oh, that would be really that would be really terrible. I think that the next team I do is going to be my Blacksmiths, and I'm hoping to paint them in a green and gold scheme, kind of like the Salamanders from 40K. And I like the new bases that came out from Broken Toad. And for those, I'm looking at using the church bases rather than the blacksmith bases, because I like the look of almost kind of painted knights on like churchly tile.
Makes sense.
Kind of looks good to me. So
are you going to do, you said green and gold, so is it going to be more of like a gold like brass with the green like aging, or
so when I say green and gold, I mean like painted green armor with gold embellishments, like the raised stuff, like in metallic or maybe non-metallic.
Because I've seen like people like do like brass, like in fantasy, like the cannons are brass, and then they like when they oxidize they turn green. Type effect.
Those are really cool. I considered doing like a metal and a oxidation. I can do that. It's fun, but I really think I would rather just go in with more like a solid painted metal or painted non-metallic colors. like a green highlighted in a yellow, like a deep forest green with a mid-tone emerald green and a highlight of a yellow. Like, I think that would look awesome on them, as opposed to doing them in actual metallics or even non-metallic metals. I just kind of think I would like the look.
I legitimately don't have the talent to even attempt non-metallic metals. That's why they created metallic colors.
Yeah, and, metallic metals look great.
Base coat, dry brush. That's what they're for.
Yeah.
So talent in a pot.
Yep. And, if I really wanted to get them painted and on the table right away, I would just spray paint them black and dry brush them with a metallic color, and they would look great.
Yeah.
But I've got this idea in mind for green armor.
You got this gimmick where it's going to take you 7 layers.
It's not even... It won't take that. I think I can get most of it done with an airbrush. But I'm looking at them, and the thing about blacksmiths is they can mix and match in so many different ways than other teams. Because there's not just the level of complexity of not having a mascot, therefore your 6th position on the team can be one of the other, 8 models. Yeah.
What are you trying to say here?
Yeah. There's more combinations. Without... It's essentially an extra squatty, right? So, in a regular team, you have one mascot or the other. But when you're building a team and it's I need one more squatty, that could be one of 4 or 5 different.
They only have 13 models total. So...
They have 13 models total.
And you can bring how many in the game now? 11, 12 with you.
12 in your list. Yeah.
So you're only not bringing one guy,
right?
I mean, is there there's got to be a general consensus to who's the worst blacksmith right now.
There's no good answer on that because they each serve a purpose.
Who would you not bring?
Here's the thing. It's funny. A lot of people are saying not bring Cinder, even though Cinder is awesome, because you almost always play veteran Cinder.
Yeah.
So if you're always bringing veteran Cinder, there's not as much of a reason to have regular Cinder.
Well, veteran Cinder does so much that, so much killy that, regular Cinder, she's got kill ball and she can, hot shot a blast. But when you consider that veteran Cinder does so much damage on a charge that if your only choices are that or the vet or the regular, and by not taking the regular model, you can simply just take every other model you own, it seems like a pretty cut and dry course.
Yeah.
I don't know who I would take, but I don't play that army, so...
Yeah, I don't know either. Also, I like that you call it an army because it's really hard for me sometimes to not call my team an army or a war band or something from any of the other miniatures games I've played. It's oh no, it's actually a team this time.
We're supposed to be playing a game.
Right.
According to the fluff, basically everybody just fucking dies. So
yeah.
I think more people die in this game, in this fluff, than they do in other fantasy games.
Oh yeah, it definitely does. In most games, heroes have plot armor, where here Sherwin's nah, I just want to kill them. I can make new ones.
Yeah, that's how they keep the game going. Murder all the people, make new models.
Yeah.
It's worked for Transformers, right?
So, they're not supposed to be killing each other, even though they're carrying crossbows and flamethrowers and straight-up axes.
And there's going to be a tank soon.
And there's going to be... that's not a killing tank. That's a drilling tank.
Yeah. Have you looked at the one mule guy? He looks like he could murder somebody.
I know, but I don't know what the function of mule is. I'll be super... Maybe that's my plan, is I bench my engineers until miners come out. And
they probably add something pretty cool.
Yeah. Because that teleport mechanic can probably be real good.
The ability to teleport in literally every game is good. I've never played a game where teleporting is not good.
Right.
So...
yeah.
Win for free, yes.
Yeah, it's great.
I don't want to pay for it.
No.
Why would I can do other things.
Yeah, I don't want to pay for that shit. I got entitlements. I don't want to pay for shit. What? What are you looking at? fine.
time.
Yeah.
No, we're good.
Okay.
We stretched this out to 10 minutes longer than I was hoping, which was fantastic for a December edition. But yeah, that's everything I had on the notes.
The non-existent notes.
I mean, I looked at my non-existent watch to pretend that I was reading notes, so you know. But yeah, I think that's everything we have.
Well, yeah, I have a question for you. What are your gaming plans once work slows down?
Well, work will be over next week. Like basically, once Christmas hits, we're back to normal schedules. So I will have the weekends off in the foreseeable future. I'll be going out of town a week in January from the 6th through the 11th, I believe. I'm going to Consumer Electronics Show, CES, in Vegas, which is super cool because A, I've never been to CES and it looks like there's going to be a lot of cool shit. B, I'm going to go drink some shit and waste money like I've never done before in my life because I hate gambling, but I'm going to try it one time because carpe diem or some shit. That's what they say. Carp the fish.
Yep.
Diem the fish.
Yeah. So
I'll be free. Basically, once I come back from that, I don't have shit planned until Adepticon in late March.
And when is CES?
It's the 7th through the 11th.
January or February?
January. So 3 weeks from now, I will be in Vegas.
Excellent.
So that 19th you said is fine for me. Jesse, you're going to Mexico City? So
No.
I don't know.
I'm going to where I live.
Oh, okay.
And where I work.
Columbia Station.
And where I live and where I work and where I live and where I work.
Independence.
Not a whole lot.
Some people call that independence.
I mean, better than sometimes. But yeah, no, I got nothing going on. So once everything is done with, it's also going to be fucking cold, so we can play all the games we want because there's nothing to do outside in Cleveland in February. So yeah,
violently cold.
Yeah, it's really fucking cold, but there's neither here nor there. But that sounds like about everything. I think we've rambled enough for people to wonder why the hell this is going to make the cut because I'm not editing shit today.
No.
I mean, deal with it. I've heard other podcasts, so. But yeah, I think that's everything we have today. You'll hear us again in 2019, where we will have maybe given a few more shits. But until then, my name is Dave.
I'm Jesse.
I am Chris.
And we'll see you next time.
You can find the Pusher Pass podcast at pusherpass.wordpress.com, Instagram.com/pusherpass, Facebook.com/pusherpass, or on Twitter @pusherpass. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
From the